Alright, hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the V-Power Butterfly Knife Trainer. This is the Dragon design one. This is a pretty interesting butterfly knife. This is definitely one of the better trainers I've actually seen. This one's a little bit more expensive at $20, but let's just go ahead and take a look at it. If you'll notice when you first open a container, there will be a little sheath that's made out of some cheap plastic. The material is pretty much the same or very similar to the stuff you'd find in these cheap little bags you can get at like events or whatever. So again, not super high quality, not something that will last you a very long time, but definitely something that's cool because you can actually transport this. Alright, so we're not going to worry about that right now. If you want an actual decent sheath, you can get one for about like $2.50 or $2.30 on eBay. My other video that should be popping up in the corner will show you a review of this. But anyway, let's move on to the actual knife. A few things. This does actually have what looks like a real blade. Again, that's probably the worst way to open a knife, a butterfly knife, but just so I don't pop into the camera. No, this is not actually sharpened. So you'd say, like, does that make it a trainer? Technically, no. You may want to check with your local law enforcement if butterfly knives or gravity knives are restricted in your area. While this is not sharpened, it's still considered a knife. It may still be considered a knife in some places. So that's something worth checking out. As opposed to something like this, where it's obviously unsharpenable because you sharpen it, this entire edge becomes brittle. So this would actually be considered a trainer because it's something you cannot sharpen. So yes, this does come dull out of the box, but the nice thing about it is you get to actually be used to, a blade shape. And because when you're just using something like this, it's just a hunk of metal. It's completely thick on the same side, so you could be flipping it using the bite handle the whole time and not even notice, because that's the same thing as if the back of the blade was to bump into you. With this, you actually get some nice feedback. If this lands on you, you will certainly feel it. It comes to a nice edge, so it won't cut you, but you will definitely feel it scraping you against your skin, which is really nice because that would actually tell you that if you were using a real knife, you would have been cut. Very nice to have that type of feedback from a trainer knife. That's one of the also great things about this. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the designs real quick. It does have two dragons on each side, and no, these are not just painted on, these are actually etched in. Can you get some focus going? Come on, please. There we go. So it does have two dragons that are etched in, and they actually have some black paint on there. So very nice. You can see the depth right there. And it has some lines on both sides for no reason. I guess just to fill in the look so there's not a bunch of empty space. Another interesting thing you'll notice is there are no exposed pins on this whatsoever. Sorry, no exposed screws or pins. So take a look up here. You can see this is what a screw would be. It's actually filled in with a piece of metal, so you don't have to worry about the pins falling out on you. Another great trait of a trainer. And these pins are nice and solidly put in there. So it doesn't look like these are going to be going anywhere. And again, you get this really nice angling to the blade. And one thing you may have noticed is that this pin doesn't actually go in all the way. When you first get this knife, when it closes, one side will not actually close all the way. It will close like this, I believe, which is not actually even. There would be quite a big gap on one side. However, when you try to close the lock, the latch will just lock closed and stay there. So what I had to do was I had to use my sharpening rod on this sharpener right here, and I grinded out the side that wouldn't close all the way. Just went like this for a little bit, and if you do it enough, you'll actually get it so you can actually close your knife fully, and a lock will work. Unfortunately, I grinded a little bit too much, and now my my latch does not actually go down and stay down. And the reason why it springs up is because there's actually a spring on one side. Now, some of you who are new to butterfly knives may be wondering, also I put glue on here to try to get it closed after I messed it up, but just ignore that. Some of you who are new to butterfly knives may be wondering, why would you actually want a spring on the latch? Well, that's because when you're doing certain tricks where your knife is flipping, you want your latch to be out of the way so it can actually close all the way. With ones that don't have springs on the latch, this is what may happen. You're in the middle of a flip, and the knife's coming close, and then the blade just bumps into here. If you had an actual blade, that will certainly mess up your blade, but with trainers, it's not a big deal. But when you have it, but if you're spinning fast enough, or if you've gotten enough practice and you're flipping fast enough, this should be held up itself by, the spinning, and it will go like, whoo. But if you're going slow, or if it's just the angle you're holding it, it's still a chance that with these older styles, it will just close on that. I've had that happen a couple times. So yeah, the spring definitely helps with that. The shape of it's a little bit weird. I don't know if you can really tell amongst all my glue, but it's mainly just like a flat circle at top. So that kind of makes maneuvering it a little bit difficult as opposed to the more traditional style. Well, I don't know if it's the traditional style, but the style I'm used to, where you can easily grab up on it and it has like a rounded top. But it's still very usable. You can still do latch drops. I can't really do it with stuff in the way, but this is not going to be a tricks video. It's just going to be a demonstration video. But as you see, you can flip it. Works just fine. Now, one thing you may have noticed is the fact that since there are dragons on the side, which look very cool by the way, it's missing something that most butterfly knives normally have, and that's holes on the side. These holes are to keep balance for the actual knife itself, and even though this is a trainer, some real butterfly knives have it too. As you can see right here, holes on the side. This is so you can get really good balance. As you see right now, oops, the balance is about like maybe 1/3 down the handle, I guess. And this keeps the same idea. There are holes in it, but it's a thicker blade, so because of that, we get the same balance. There you go. Okay, there we go. So yeah, about the same balance. Now with this, the fact that there are very solid handles, and they didn't even grind out the inside at all, that means that it definitely throws out the balance a little bit. For this, the balance point is not exactly there. It's closer to halfway. So that definitely does make some tricks a little bit weirder. Like if you try to flip it slowly, you see how slow that handle came down? I think it's possibly because of the balance. And I noticed that some tricks are just a little bit harder to pull off because the handles require a little bit more force. It's not because like I'm necessarily weak. I've used knives way heavier than this, but it's just because of the way that the weight is distributed. It makes it harder to actually flip the handles themselves. So again, it's not a problem with the weight of the knife overall. It's a problem with where the weight is. So alright, so we're pretty far into this video. Is this a good option for people who are learning how to get into butterfly knives? I'd say actually yes. They have a few models which are exactly like this with holes in the handles, which I love to test. Unfortunately, I don't have enough extra money right now. This was not a review sample. I bought this outright. And I say even for buying this outright at about $20, I say this is still a really, really nice option. I mean, it gives you the nice feedback of having a realistic blade. It just generally feels really nice. You get the little spring on here, so you don't have to worry about it falling in the middle. And it's just overall a really nice option. One last thing I forgot to mention before, but it's something you need to keep in mind, is the way these handles are designed. If you take a look at this handle right here, you'll notice, can we get some focus going? Nope. Okay. You will notice that it's pretty flat across here. With normal butterfly knives, if we can, come on, please. Nope. Okay. Well, you can kind of see it here. This entire side is flat. There's hardly any transition from the rounded top part to the actual side. And because of that, when you have to rotate the knife itself, you can get a little bit of resistance. So again, it's another design flaw, a molding problem, or something, I don't know. But if you look at normal butterfly knives, or just even normal trainers, it's a lot more rounded across here. I'll get that in the center of the camera. So you can see, you can hardly hear anything at all. You don't hear any like grinding against my finger. But with something like this, the individual flips, you can hear it grinding against my finger more. That's just a little bit of a resistance thing. But even with all these problems, I think this is a really good trainer for everything it offers. It does make it a little bit harder to do tricks, but I mean, if you're just practicing for the beginning, then you can still transition your tricks from the heavier handles over to this, or a different type of knife, or a real knife. It just means that you'll be giving it a little bit more force than you need. So that's not actually a problem in my opinion. I would absolutely love to test out one of the ones with holes in the panel, see if that helps with the balance at all. Because I'd say the balance is probably the biggest thing that I'd say is the bad thing about this knife. But yeah, so I'd say pick one up. If you're interested in butterfly knives, you want something with an edge on it, maybe try one of the ones. I'll have a link to one of the ones with holes in it. Tell me how it goes if you get one of those. But I like this one just for the design. So if you just want something you can practice on occasionally and something with a really nice design, I'd say go with this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully I can test one of the other ones with holes in it, see if I can get a better balance. Yeah, the spring thing is really, really nice. Unfortunately, I grinded a little bit too far. So I suggest if you're a new person, don't even bother grinding it. Just use it the way it is. Sure, the handle will be off a little bit, but it still works just fine. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video, which I said like 3 times already. Let's just take one more look at the blade. Or not the blade, the just knife handles themselves. Oh yeah, it's nice. And another look at the last look at the blade. All right, see you guys later. Bye.